Piers Morgan released a very interesting interview where he talked with Bassem Youssef. Listen to this.
It's just like those Palestinians, they're very dramatic. Israel killing us. But they never die. I mean, they always come back. You know, they're very difficult to kill, very difficult people to kill. I know because I'm married to one. I tried many times, couldn't kill her.
I mean, there's a dark humor there, and I understand why, because...
No, it's not dark humor. I try to get to her every time, but she uses our kids as human shields. I can never take her out.
Again, I understand the humor, but to be serious, Bassem, about...
Had I been Piers at this moment, I think would have kicked him out, because if he keeps insisting that this is not dark humor, then I would assume he must be a crazy person or someone who is just playing games. In any case, not someone whose words I can trust. But I didn't realize at the time that this was Bassem establishing a premise. The premise of heavily using sarcasm. So I was right that he was playing games. But this was quite clever for a number of reasons. It is well known that Piers Morgan is very combative and interrupts a lot. If you say things that oppose Piers's point of view, you might not be able to get to say everything you want to say. Using sarcasm sounds like you are agreeing with your interlocutor, disarming him in the process, and you get to say your piece. This is not the only way Bassem attempts to disarm Piers.
Because it changes
Bassem,
from one year. It changes from one. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm really at a disadvantage here. I'm looking at a camera. I don't see you. I can hear you on my.
The reason I'm interrupting is
Piers. I am at a disadvantage here. I can hear you. I cannot see you. I am in a claustrophobic room, and so please cut me some slack and don't interrupt me and interrupt my points.
Sure.
I am in a disadvantage, and I would like to have my space to respond.
Okay, we'll come back after the break.
3 separate times, Bassem talks about being at a disadvantage to try to disarm Piers's interruptions in advance. And it doesn't end there. He butters up his opponent while having this premise of sarcasm active the whole time.
To be serious, Bassem, about this, tonight there is...
I will be serious. Now, I will be serious. I was watching your interview with Ben Shapiro, and I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I think that Ben Shapiro is one of the smartest people who ever walked this earth. He's very, very smart. I follow him, and I believe everything he said. And when he came on your show, his solution was, and I quote, his solution was that the solution for this is for Israel to annex Gaza and to kill as many son of bitches as possible to make sure that this will never happen again. And anyone who called for a ceasefire will be a terrorist sympathizer. So God forbid, I don't want to be labeled as a terrorist sympathizer. So I agree with Ben Shapiro. I think we should kill as many son of bitches as possible.
Well, but Bassem,
Just imagine him saying all of this directly and the reaction to it. Conversation would have bogged down on some, if not all of these points or jabs. And now he can just keep on talking with no resistance.
Response to what Jeremy's been saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the gentleman's name.
It's Jeremy Boring. He's the chief executive of the Daily Wire and co-founder with Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire.
Hi, Jeremy. Please say hello to Ben Shapiro, and please tell him that I do think he is the smartest person to ever walk the earth. Thank you so much. So, as response to Jeremy, I agree with everything you said. I mean, what is disproportionate? I mean, he just used the examples from Second World War in America, showing that civilian casualty is. I heard his voice. He was very sad, and as he was telling us, it is so inevitable to kill so many civilians because it's something that we cannot avoid. I hear the sadness in his voice, and I know that it's a very difficult decision to kill all of these civilians because that's for a higher cause. And I understand, but my question.
Basically, he is getting away with directly fucking with the person he is talking to and getting on their good side at the same time. Just look at this small reaction, like he believed it. Had he caught the sarcasm, I think he would have called it out or reacted more visibly. And these tactics worked like magic. Bassem got to talk enormous amount of time without interruptions and even got away with interrupting Piers multiple times. Bassem called Piers one of the good guys multiple times.
Sanctions or by invasion, right? You are a good man. This is amazing.
I wonder if it's safe to assume that he directly called him evil. And Piers is just taking it, thinking he is getting praised. But that is also the risky part of using sarcasm like this. When he actually wants to say something without sarcasm, it can be quite difficult. The sarcasm is not so clear here, and I'm not even actually sure if that part was sarcasm. And if the sarcasm was clear, then it would again be confrontational and Bassem might not get to say everything he wants to say. So it is a fine line he is trying to traverse here.
So my question for you is,
I know.
What would you think would be an appropriate response by Israel to what happened?
Well, these are years of disproportionate responses of Israel.
Right.
Did it solve the solution? Did it solve the problem? Did it work before? So it will. What will be the surprise this time? What will be the twist that will make this work this time? What?
Like here, I assume this is not sarcastic. So you can't hold the premise of sarcasm throughout the whole interview. But can't make it too obvious either.
A bit personal?
Bassem, with respect, I gave you half the show to have your side. Jeremy's had a lot less time. I'm going to have to
You want
move
me to
on.
leave?
Bassem,
Or do you
I'm
want
going
me to stay?
to have to let you go because we've been on air with you for 40 minutes.
Okay,
now,
bye-bye.
right? But listen,
Bye-bye.
I'd like to talk.
I think Bassem's game plan was that if he would not get to say what he wants, he would have just left early.
Slightly mind your language. We are uncensored, but if you keep swearing,
I'm very sorry.
we have to apologise to viewers who may be offended by that. But I understand passions run high, so let's not get too bogged down about the odd swear word.
I apologise to the viewers. I apologise to the viewers for my language.
My second question is this.
After the sight of dead civilians.
After the break, we have the managing director of the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's company.
This part I didn't understand at first watch. Why Bassem was so keen on interrupting on a simple point of language. I think he might have felt how it is a bit absurd how the swearing was the offensive part of the things he was saying and tried to express it.
By the way, my wife's family is all right, and they sent us a house. It's bombed. It's beautiful. It's going to be a good like Halloween theme. So
well, I'm very sorry for what your family are going through in Gaza, and I mean that very sincerely.
By the way, I don't know. I don't know him. By the way, I haven't actually met them. They didn't even come to my wedding. They couldn't because they are stuck in Gaza, and she never saw them because Gaza is not a destination.
Bassem, as I say,
we hear their voices, and it's they die. It's fine. It's fine.
Bassem, I wish your family all the very best. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
And at the very end, the whole game is revealed. Without coming out and admitting it is sarcasm, making a point that can't be taken any other way to reveal that he has mostly been bullshitting the whole time. Quite clever, I have to admit. The odd thing that this guy is a satirist and Piers introduced him as such. I'm a bit torn whether or not Piers realized what he was doing or not. Typically, Piers is not the kind of person who takes shit from anyone, so my guess is that a lot of this flew over his head. For a while it did for me as well, but I have the benefit for not being live. There were a ton of more interesting bits one could talk about and analyze like this.
Excuse, not your excuse. What is the excuse to kill those people?
Well, listen, this question of proportionality is one that...
No, answer my question! I've been answering your question, you answer mine.
It's actually not my job to answer your questions. It's not.
Okay, not your job.
Not.
It is not Piers' job to answer questions. And yet quite soon, if you watch the full interview, he does answer quite a lot of different questions. But then again, Bassem was diverting as well and trying not to answer the question. It is quite interesting to watch the interview and try to flip everything Bassem says to the opposite, and see if it makes more sense like that. Bassem uses a lot of facial expressions to communicate his meaning. Just wanted to make a quick share of thoughts on this conversational tactic. I don't think it will work multiple times on the same people though. That is all for now. See you next time in Flamethrower Light.
Colomba come auspicio di pace. Eccola là!